Hey everybody, this is the Sliders Review, and I'm here today to talk to you about Luther Season 1, Episode 5. I really hope music doesn't pick up on the audio, because somebody on a completely different street is booming their music. I swear some people are ignorant. Anyways, so this episode is when things really start to pick up, and it starts to lay out the formula of what Luther is about the entire series, but more so in episode 6. And so in this episode, it starts off with an art dealer. Him and his wife, James and Jessica, they're just at home chilling. And all of a sudden, three people bust in. And this is when things get really dicey. So, this one man, an American, Daniel Sugarman. What kind of name is that? Sugar Man. A woman named Evelyn and a man named Tom. They break in and they start demanding diamonds. The art dealer dude named James act like he doesn't know what they're talking about. But they're not leaving until they get what they want. Then all of a sudden we see James head to the police station, and he goes there to talk to Rose and Luther. And so he tells them what happened, and he gives them a gift that the robbers, or kidnappers, I should say now, have left him. It's Jessica's tongue. Yes! How gruesome is that? This is why I say this show takes it there. It's gross and it's disgusting. And it's oh my freaking God. So he tells them that they want diamonds that he's been smuggling and everything. And they want certain types of diamonds. And I think it's 18, these really huge diamonds or whatever. And so he tells them he had to lie to them about where the diamonds. He said he didn't know where the diamonds were. Because he couldn't tell them the real location. And the real location is they're inside Jessica. What in the world, man? This is some Heath Ledger, Joker, Dark Knight stuff where he put that cell phone bomb inside that man's body. Now, does Jessica know that the diamonds are inside her? That's never revealed. I guess they didn't check her body because they saw no scar. But then again, she could have swallowed them in a very interesting, disgusting kind of way that makes it to where you can swallow objects or and stuff like that, or insert them upside you. Ugh. But they're inside her stomach, so that we do know. And so, yeah, he put the diamonds inside her so he could smuggle them. How was he expecting? He must have. How did he get them out? It must have been surgery, I'm guessing, because that's how he gonna get them out. Because he loves her and stuff like that. So Luther and them, they're all we gotta get this one back at, as soon as possible, and we have to trick the kidnappers into thinking they have the real diamonds. So he suggests to Rose, what about this old caper that we saw a long time ago with these diamonds? And she's all no, you can't do that, that's evidence and everything. He's all look, one way or another, this guy wants diamonds. These aren't the exact type of diamonds that he wants because they're tinier diamonds, but it will at least give them time to capture the kidnappers and get Jessica back and stuff. So Rose, even though she relents to wanting to do that, she agrees to do it, knowing that it's against protocol and everything to tamper with evidence. Now, Luther's plan is sound, but that what makes him so unconventional. He's a very unconventional cop who does things differently, but he gets the job done. So, James doesn't want to do this because he knows they're not the right size diamond, but he does it anyway. So, he's supposed to meet the kidnappers at a drop point. He's supposed to drop the diamonds in a bag in a garbage can in the mall, and then he's supposed to leave. And then, so the cops are waiting to get the kidnappers and stuff. Well, only two of them are there, Tom and Evelyn. And so when they go inside the trash can to go get the diamonds, Evelyn realizes something. There are no diamonds there. James had made off with the diamonds. You best believe that little sneaky art dealer dude left his wife to die at the hands of the killer and took the other diamonds and fled. What kind of scallywag type crap like that? I mean, that is some messed up stuff. He left his wife out to hang and dry. And all I could think about that is like, Mufasa did not die for this. Like, seriously, man. Like, you supposed to protect your wife. So Tom ends up getting away, but Evelyn gets caught. And so she's interrogated and she doesn't want to say nothing. So now the cops are trying to figure out, how they're going to get Jessica back. And they need to make contact with whoever this dude is who's the ringleader of the kidnappers, right? So all of a sudden, we see something happen that's very shocking. Detective Ian Reed, who is one of like the cops there and Luther's best friend, he goes to a man named Bill and talking about they're in trouble. Turns out Reed knew all about this kidnapping. Why? Because Bill is a big time criminal. And he's been, both him and Reed been working for each other. He's Reed informant, but Reed is on the take. And so Bill pays him to look the other way and do crap like that. And so Ian knew all along this woman about to get kidnapped, but he didn't know he was going to go this far. So he wants to know what kind of mess Bill's nephew, Tom, has gotten himself into and who are the people he hired. And so when he calls Tom told him it's like this American, this ruthless American who doesn't like, there are two Americans, Evelyn's American too. They don't stop until the job is done. So they're not going to stop until the diamonds are found. And body parts are going to start flying if Daniel doesn't get what he wants and everything. And so he tells Tom, look, man, this has gone on too far. You need to go get Jessica and bring her to the police station and everything. I can try to keep you safe and everything, because if not, we're all screwed. And so, like, that's what he does. You know what I'm saying? He goes and he tries to get Jessica. And so by that time, Daniel has returned as soon as he has freed Jessica. And Daniel is not too happy about this. He's not too happy about this at all. What does Daniel do? Well, Daniel decides that he's going to chop off the fingers I forget who. It's either Jessica or it's Tom. But he chops Tom's ears off and kills Tom. And then he rips open Jessica. Off screen, by the way. All this happened off screen. And so when the cops show up, they find the dismembered body. And now Daniel knows where the diamonds are. And now Daniel is gone with the diamonds. So now the cops have to find Daniel. So now the cops have now failed in their mission. This is bad for Rose. She tampered with evidence. She let Luther does what he want to do. And she doesn't even know about Ian. And so now there's a dead woman and other dead people. So she's screwed and everything. And so Ian goes back to Bill and lets him know that Tom is dead and that he is sorry and everything. But he wants to know, did Bill tell anybody about him, that if he's involved in stuff? And he tells him something, I think he told somebody that he knows a cop that can, like, get things done. Ian is now scared. Ian tells him, look, man, you have just screwed me big time. Every case I have solved, they're going to now re-look into and everything. Every person he booked could possibly get out now because they know he's a dirty cop. So Bill tells me, oh, I'm so sorry, as he turns around. You never turn your back on a person. What does Ian do? Chokes him out and kills him. Now Ian has to find Daniel and find the diamonds. Why? Because Daniel knows about Ian and everything. And so Ian is up what's creek. Now let's get into Luther for a second, because the show is technically about him. he is going through some stuff. See, Mark went to Zoe in the last episode and told him, look, I know you was clickety clacking in with Luther and everything, and you need to decide him or me. And if you decide me, you can have no more contact with him. So Zoe breaks the bad news to Luther, and Luther decides to break his office. He smashes through the window, he's busting through the door, he's flipping like stuff around. She walks out like all upset, crying, and all the cops can see Luther going nuts on his office. This will come back to bite him in the butt because see, his behavior is so erratic. He has extreme anger issues, and everybody there knows that. But they kind of just like look the other way because he's such a good cop. And so this is one reason why he was on sabbatical, because of the whole Henry thing. And so at some point in time, he meets with Alice again at a monastery. And so this is funny because he said he didn't want nothing to do with her no more. And they just start talking. He tells about the whole Zoe thing, and she tells him, you know, oh, she's so sorry he lost like his wife and all this other crap, and that she tells him that she murdered Henry, and she did it because she loves Luther. And she did it because a long time ago, she never believed in like love. And so after a long discussion, he decides it is time to move on from Zoe, and he puts his wedding ring in like the donation box, and he leaves Alice there. And so at some point in time, um Luther starts reinvestigating this whole Daniel thing. He knows Daniel has to get out the country somehow, and he's gonna need a fake passport. So he finds this one crooked dude who makes fake passports. And so after interrogating and bullying him, the passport dude, the criminal dude, reveals, man, you're like the second person that's come to me about this situation. And he's like, what are you talking about? He spills on Ian. So now Luther knows Ian, something's going on with him. But he doesn't know exactly what. He assumes that Ian is looking for revenge because Bill was Ian's informant. So he thinks Ian is going to kill Daniel. So he calls Ian on the phone. Is all like, look, man, I know what's up and everything. You just need to like stop doing what you're about to do. So this makes Ian go into panic mode. And Ian is so upset. He's contemplating what he's gonna do. And so he tells Luther to meet him at a certain location. No. Luther tells him to meet him at a certain location. And of course, Ian's not going to do that. But for somehow, I forgot how, but Luther got a tip on what's his face, Daniel, at a hotel. So Luther goes there. Ian shows up at the hotel. I think Ian's the one who told where Daniel's at. And he sees Luther's car and knows that Luther lied to him about meeting him at the other location. So Luther goes there to apprehend Daniel, and he does. And in comes Ian with a gun, and he shoots and kills Daniel and everything. And then he pulls the gun on Luther, and Luther pulls Daniel's gun on him. And he's all like, look, man, like, what are you doing and everything? Like, look, man, we can get through this and everything. Like, we're buds. Like, we just pretend like nobody was here and all this other stuff. And Ian, who is paranoid at this point, think Luther knows everything, but Luther doesn't. And so Ian kind of just starts like kind of confessing kind of a little bit and everything about how he's like a dirty cop. And Luther is just kind of like, oh man, like blah, 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 and stuff like that. Because he knows Luther's not going to let him go free. In comes a maid, and Ian starts shooting at her. Now Luther jumps and saves the maid. And he asked the maid, did you see anything? Did you see any man with a gun? She was like, no, because it happened all too fast. So he's like, Ian, look, man, she didn't see nothing. We can still get away with this and everything. But Ian doesn't care. He runs with like the diamonds. And so now, of course, this starts this whole thing where the rest of the cops come in. And they suspect that Luther is the one who killed Daniel and took the diamonds and everything. And because the maid didn't see Ian, they assume it's him. So Luther is in for it. And I don't understand the maid, how she thinks Luther's gonna shoot at her, then dodge and push her out the way. That don't make no sense. That's kind of when the writing gets a little sloppy. So Ian is now really so upset that he's sitting on a bench and he's ready to take his own life and everything. But then he decides not to. He decides he's gonna try to get himself out of it. And he goes to Zoe's place. And so Zoe's all happy to see him and everything because she doesn't know what's up. Because Luther, the thing about him is that he doesn't tell nobody nothing that's going on in his personal life. When he was on the phone with Alice a couple episodes ago and shouting at her in front of that one dude, he pretended like he was shouting at Zoe. And he doesn't even tell people nothing about Alice and everything. And he doesn't tell nobody about Ian. So Zoe's there and talking, and Ian's all like, I need you to call Luther and tell him to come over here and don't tell him I'm here. So she's kind of freaked out and kind of want to know, like, what the world's going on? He's starting to scare me. He pulls the gun on her. He's all like, look, I ain't gonna kill you, but you need to do what I tell you. So then she calls Luther crying and panic, and Luther is at like a diner and he doesn't know what the world is going on with Zoe. But then Zoe decides she's gonna try to like rat Ian out real fast and then take off running, only to get stopped by Ian. Luther knows what's up and he sprints over there and hops in his car and he dashes to Zoe's place. So Zoe takes a knife and she points it at Ian while she's at the kitchen and he's like far away from her and he has his gun on her. You never take a knife to a gunfight, people. And so he's telling her like, don't do this, don't do that. But she stands up and that freaks him out to where he thinks she's gonna lunge at him and he shoots her. And then when he looks at her body, he just screams because this is something he literally did not want to do. Like he's so frantic and panted, he's not thinking right. And he didn't mean to kill Zoe. He just wanted to scare her into like, bringing like Luther there and stuff. But now he knows he is superly screwed and Luther knows this. So Ian decides he's going to do something to get himself out of it. So when Luther gets there, he sees Zoe's dead body. And he is beside himself in grief and anguish because he loves Zoe so much. And so he calls it in and everything, right, to his police people and stuff. But then he starts to look around the place and he sees that the whole house has been trashed. And it's just like, if only Luther would tell people what's going on in his situations in life that are going on, like the whole Alice thing and the Ian thing. If only people knew that ahead of time, they wouldn't suspect him of anything. Because you gotta stop and think about it. When you look at the room, it looks like something Luther would do because he is known for doing that. He did it in the police office. So they really truly suspect he is the murderer of his ex-wife because he could not handle her leaving him. Now I know what you're thinking. What about James? Well, James has this person that he sells his stuff to, right? His smuggled stuff. And he's all, look, I got these diamonds for you and stuff. In comes the other detective dude, Justin Ripley. And so Justin's all like, I see you trying to sell some fake diamonds because those diamonds we gave you, they're actually fake diamonds from an old case we solved a long time ago. And I guess they had like a tracking unit on them somehow. And so he arrests James. So James didn't get away with it after all. Alrighty, well, I'll talk to y'all later. Bye.